This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 34, and it reads, "For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance." Verse 35, "He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts." Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and the glory shall go to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Makah Kodash, Brakatam. Double honor shall go to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone who continue to teach and to rule well. Shalom to the Akims of Great Millstone and like-minded camps and individuals who continue to teach as one body, who continue to be out on the highways and byways, risking their lives for the greater good. And also shalom to the sincere Akwat, who are continuously learning in silence, as the Holy Scriptures have commanded for you to do so. This is Azariah Gabar, representing the King is Coming channel, back at it with another lesson for edification purposes. Salakia. So, today's sanctioned lesson, once again, compliments of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushai Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash, is going to concentrate on rage of a man, because I'm seeing more and more, and I'm hearing more and more instances regarding this. So this lesson, once again, is going to concentrate on strictly for you Akims, okay? All right, this is for the brothers. And to me, this is kind of like a national emergency for the Akims, all right? Because like I just mentioned, we're seeing more and more of these instances where the men are seriously harming their women or wives or outright killing them. And as a result, guess what happens? They get arrested, they go through the judicial process, and more often than not, they're found guilty and they be sent to jail for a very, very long time. When, you know, had they had that spirit in them, they could have just walked away, all right? Just walk away, man, because remember back in my initial video, introduction and salutation video, I mentioned that I was in that situation over 20 years ago. I experienced crazy rage because of my ex-wife and what was going on with her, all right? And there are children involved, all right? It would have been one thing if it was just her and there were no children, but in my situation, there were children, all right? And of course, I thought at that period of time that I was doing a good thing by attempting to keep the family together. And that was on my mind constantly, all right? And, you know, her shenanigans was continuing to happen. And the more it happened, the more jealous I became and the more rage got into me, to the point where I was facing possible lengthy prison time. All right? I was even locked up in downtown Manhattan in the Tombs sections. And while I was in that jail cell, and this is when I was just getting into this truth, just getting into it. And I prayed one night to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hasham Makakodash Brakatham. And I said, Lord, if you get me out of this jam, you have my word that I will not get into this situation anymore. You know, your will, of course. You heard? And guess what? He heard my prayers. He heard my cries. He heard my sighs. And the following day, well, actually, later on that night, early in the morning, I say around 3 in the morning, I got bailed out by a good friend of mine. All right? But of course, I still had to go to court to fight the charges, and it took a whole year because Esau Edom was hell-bent on putting me behind bars. But the Lord didn't allow it. So 23 years later, I kept my word. And I've said, nope. My attitude now is, if it doesn't work, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Okay? So, moving on, when we go into the book of Deuteronomy 24:1, and it reads, when a man had taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes because he had found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. And that's how the setup was back then and how it's supposed to be now. It's supposed to be the man's house. He's the head. All right? But too many of you aquads have it twisted, thinking that it's the other way around. All right? So, speaking of being the man's house, when we go to the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 4 and verse 30, it reads, be not as a lion in thy house, nor frantic among thy servants. Now, what does the word frantic mean? Well, basically, and I want to display the definition, but it means desperate or wild with excitement, passion, fear, or pain. All right? So, there you go. There you see the definition of frantic. All right? So, I was in pain. I was devastated. And like I said, that pain developed into rage and excitement and buck wilding and passion. Because my passion was, like I mentioned before, to try to keep my family intact. I didn't, my children were very young back then. They were only like, I'll say 10 and 8 or 7 around that time, okay? And, the man don't want another dude around his children, especially a joker, okay, or a clown. So that was the situation. So I had put my freedom and possibly my life on the line to try to force this woman into her senses. And it almost cost me. All right? So when we go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 31, it reads, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, he says, it had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committed adultery. So Basically, what Yahweh Shah was explaining to the disciples was back then in the time of Moses, when he gave that law, men's hearts were hardened, where any little thing he found, not in favor of his wife, out, He slapped that bill of divorcement in her hand and sent her packing out the house. But Yahweh Shai, once he came on the scene, he clarified it. So basically he said, unless his wife committed straight up adultery or fornication, you're stuck with her. You're supposed to be stuck with her till death do you part. You heard? So this is what's happening. And so there was a situation. I couldn't get the whole story, but a 52-year-old man was arrested after he shot and killed his 24-year-old girlfriend after learning she has a boyfriend. Okay? So I'm going to show you this illustration here, right? This brother was 52 and had a woman that was, twice his junior. And guess what? Because of that rage and that jealousy, once he found out that she had another dude, now his life is potentially going to be over. Okay? So I want to try to cue up this video. Salakia.
Why doesn't everyone between 45 and 65 claim the $250,000?
Shut up. Okay. Salakia.
Disbelief mourning the death of 40-year-old Kenneth Cunningham II.
Cunningham was shot and killed on Wednesday, and police say he was targeted outside of his Marriott apartment over a woman who he had been seeing. Within the last hour, the woman's ex-boyfriend, 33-year-old Donovan Carter, appeared before a Cobb County Magistrate Court judge to hear the 4 felony charges against him, including aggravated assault and malice murder. Carter remains in custody tonight without bond. Late tonight, Cunningham's father and aunt in Alpharetta spoke with our John Shurik.
We can't comprehend it.
They can't believe he is gone. Kenny Cunningham II, shot and killed on Wednesday, his 40th birthday. Cunningham's family from Chicago had gathered in Atlanta to surprise him later that day and celebrate him and show him their love for him. His father, Kenneth Cunningham.
He was very generous, giving, loved kids, loved his nephew.
Kenny Cunningham, an Uber driver for now. His aunt, Daphne Bell, says he lived.
All right, so, I didn't want to play that whole clip, but you know what I'm saying, Akims. It's very imperative that you get into that spirit. And I know it's easier said than done. All right? But you have to, understand that if she's not for you, she's not for you. That's it. All right? Move on with your lives. And if there are children involved, Well, just concentrate on the children, you heard? So that's going to be the lesson for this day. Lord willing, was edifying to your Akims. All praises, honor, and glory shall go to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'asham, Kakodash, Brakatham. On to the next. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.